Success Profiles Radio with your host, Brian K. Wright. Have you ever wondered if there's more to life than you're currently living? Then Success Profiles Radio is the program for you. Every week, we'll explore different aspects of success and how to apply them to your life. Guests will come from many different backgrounds, including expertise in leadership, business, relationships, careers, networking, health, overcoming adversity, and much more. Every show is a dose of inspiration. This is Success Profiles Radio. And now, here's your host, Brian K. Wright.
Hello and welcome to Success Profiles Radio. I'm your host, Brian K. Wright, and it's an absolute pleasure to be with you here today. I'm honored that you chose to spend part of your day with me here. This is going to be a fantastic and amazing show. I'll be introducing my guest shortly, and I promise this will be a fun and informative hour. It will be terrific. I do want to take a minute or two to share some things I've been learning and thinking about lately, and I usually do this every single week. In his program, Lead the Field, Earl Nightingale talked about becoming a member of the top 3%. If you can do that, you will always be in demand. And if you are not in demand, chances are you aren't there yet. So how can you get there? He talks about 5 different things. I'll just briefly go through the list. You can get to the 3% at the top by doing these 5 things. Have a great attitude. It's the foundation. It's the magic word, and it determines your actions as well as the actions of others. When you accept responsibility for your attitude, you accept responsibility for your entire life. Number 2, intelligent objectivity. Stay open-minded yet decisive. This will improve everything. Number 3, constructive discontent. When you are dissatisfied with something in your life or your business, use that as a catalyst for improvement rather than as your reason to give up. Number 4, forgiveness. Let go of grudges to free up mental space for your growth. And number 5, your daily habits tell the tale for everything. Simple, consistent actions will help you get there. So if you want to get to the top 3%, do those 5 things. You will be so very glad you did. And if you have not downloaded and subscribed to Success Profiles Radio on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, please do that. Leave a 5-star review. And as of today, Success Profiles Radio is the number 89th ranked show in business on iTunes and the number 6th ranked show in career on iTunes. So we're very happy for all of you that are listening and subscribing. Please continue to do this. Tell your friends. Tell everyone to listen to Success Profiles Radio. We'd be very happy and grateful for that. My very special guest this week is Ali Samaha. Let me tell you about him. He helps high-ticket business owners get income out of the leads they've already paid for. He is the closer behind the follow-up system that produced $2.37 million in the last 2.5 years with only 1 or 2 calls every weekday, most of it from leads other people have already written off. He shows owners how to bring a cold lead back without pestering it and without spending another dollar on ads, and he is based in New York. So if you have dead leads that need to be revived in your pipeline, this is the episode you must listen to in full. And take notes, play it back. You'll be so glad you did. Here we are with my very special guest, Ali Samaha. Ali, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Brian. I love what you do, and I'm excited. Let's have fun with it.
Yeah, let's have fun. So the very first question I normally ask is, did you envision early on that you'd be where you are right now?
Absolutely not. I studied economics. I never expected to get into sales, and it was I'm originally from Cairo, Egypt, and so there was a revolution, and the only people hiring were people hiring for closers, and so I went from 4.0 GPA, excited about taking my career into economics to sales. So I guess it's what people were hiring for at that time, and eventually over the years I learned that sales is the most valuable skill, and I ended up here.
Absolutely. Do you see any correlation between your economic studies and your success in sales?
Very little, to be honest. Economics does give a nice bigger picture of how things operate. Sales is kind of in the trenches and exactly what it takes to actually get people to, make that strategic decision to pull out their card and swipe,
Absolutely. So what do you love about entrepreneurship?
Oh, entrepreneurship is really taking it's one of the greatest ways to stretch yourself into out of your comfort zone and into areas that push your limits and that show you what triggers you and your weak areas, and you have to constantly sharpen and face rejection and face the market, which is the most honest reflection of your value to the marketplace. So I feel like it's just a way to sharpen your axe continuously and to constantly learn, especially in an ever changing world that we're in, it's always keeping your mind sharp and forcing you to learn the skills that you need in order to not just survive but thrive in the marketplace.
Absolutely. So, if someone were to ask you, what is your big mission, your big purpose, what would you tell them?
It's a great question. Um, for me, two things really. I like to be a catalyst for positive change in people's life. I like to spark that um, ability to realize their greatest potential. And the other thing is I love to see businesses succeed. And a big part of that is leaving zero stones unturned. It's the ability to make sure that you're making the most out of everything that you have. And as you know, resources are often scarce for entrepreneurs, and they don't have the opportunity to go out there and buy more leads. So having people realize that you have a lot in your resources that you could tap into, rather than to continuously go for more. I find that to be a very exciting thing, and it usually excites entrepreneurs because you know how it is. Usually bootstrapped or usually facing some uncertainty, and all of a sudden there's this opportunity to tap into something that they already have. It really lights them up.
Absolutely. So, how did you get interested in sales consulting and coaching?
Very interesting. So I was in marketing consulting. How I got into sales specifically was I was in operations, and at some point I was leading this company in operations, and what I realized is when the company faced a lot of uncertainty and challenges, the sales people within the organization were not that concerned, and the reason why is because sales is a skill that you can take and you can apply it in different organizations. And so I realized, like, if you learn that skill of sales, you can always have a place in the marketplace. So I pursued that, sharpened that skill specifically, and as I sharpened it, became better at it. I realized that at some point, there were limitations. Like, I felt a little bit outside of my control, like when I was relying on a pipeline that I wasn't necessarily controlling. I realized, okay, there's limitations here. There's something that's out of my control. So the aha moment was when I realized I can actually control my outcomes more by going into these pipelines and reviving the deals that went quiet, that other people gave up on. And when I realized that, and other people realized that as well, especially the owners of these businesses, I started to shine as somebody who was leaving zero stones unturned within the organization, which obviously the owners appreciated very much. And then the other closers within the organization were also starting to call me follow-up king, follow-up king. And so it kind of came from everybody around me. And eventually, I decided, okay, this is something that, is not only valuable to this organization, but also valuable to everybody here who's looking to not only, close at the highest rate, but, be able to, off the call, make the most of everything that they possibly can. And that's how it happened, really organically at the end of the day.
Fantastic. So, what was your big aha moment where you realized that reviving dead leads was your zone of genius?
Oh man, it wasn't. It was really others that noticed it before I did. It was really
Mm.
the sales manager and the owner, just great leaders. I mean, at the end of the day, I remember I was like, wow, like they really see potential in me, and it's because they were in the pipeline and they were seeing that I was doing things that nobody else was doing, and that I was having 50, 60 touch points sometimes with people. And for me, it was just leaving zero stones unturned. That was just my way. And I realized, and only then did I realize, oh wow, so there's really something unique about this. And it really started showing when a few months down the line, things really start compounding, especially with follow-up. So it doesn't happen all at once, but like a month, 2, 3 months in, the records started getting broken, the weekly cash record, the monthly. So I started seeing it after the owner and the manager saw it. So it was kind of later down the line that I started realizing, okay, this is really going to pay off way more than I expected it to.
Yeah. And we all know that sales is really about serving others first, and that usually means listening. You can learn a
Absolutely.
lot about what a customer actually wants by listening to them and maybe reading between the lines a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listening is the the most important thing, and really isolating and understanding what the obstacles are. If you don't have clarity in a conversation, it can be very hard to follow up, because if you're trying to deal with 10 objections, you're just going to be running blind. But if you're isolating and understanding, then you can start collaborating with them towards overcoming that obstacle, which is crystal clear. So listening is absolutely essential in any
Exactly.
conversation.
So, do you have coaches?
What do you mean by that?
Uh, People who helped you along the way?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Coaches that are on a personal level, on a business level. I'm always, a sponge within an organization. So even if I didn't hire them as a coach, I'm always learning from, the setters. I'm learning from the closers. I'm learning from everybody at every level within the organization. And at the end of the day, hiring people, of course, to understand, you know what your gaps are. So hiring a coach to show you your blind spots, and then hiring coaches to also fill those gaps is really a shortcut. And modeling success is one of the fastest ways to get an outcome. So just finding out, okay, this guy's really good at having these human conversations, and what can I learn from them? This guy's really good at simplifying. This guy's really good at SOPs. This guy's really good at objection handling. So being able to compartmentalize everything that it's going to take in order to achieve my goals, and then find the best at every single one of those, has been one of the growth hacks definitely in my career.
Absolutely. So, Ali, what have you had to unlearn to get where you currently are?
To unlearn, that's a great question. Definitely the biggest one is this idea that I need more, more, more. Like everybody always feels like I need to go out there and do something new or something different, or that's one of them. The other one as well is I used to be very, very goal oriented and tied to the outcome. One of the things I had to unlearn was, don't be married to the outcome, be married to the process. If you can master the process and every step along the way, then what that allows you to do is become detached from the outcome. And when you're detached from the outcome in sales, that makes you a much better closer, because the person on the other side doesn't feel like they're getting pushed into a decision. They feel like it's theirs. So that was one of the biggest things. And I know it sounds simple, but that really changed the game for me, is mastering the process and marrying what I'm doing to get the outcome rather than the outcome itself.
Right. Because if you have commission breath, people can smell that a mile
Exactly.
away.
You got it. You nailed it.
Absolutely. So we've got about a minute left to the break. What is the most expensive mistake you think you've ever made? It can be financial, doesn't have to be. It could be something you held on for too long, or something that you didn't start soon enough. But what's the most expensive thing you think you've ever had to do?
Yeah, I think a big part of it was that is always pursuing more and looking for, something new and something, rather than just looking at focusing, right? Like if you ask all the successful entrepreneurs, like what they're doing is they're just focusing on what they already have and doubling down on what they already have. And how that materialized in my profession is, what's there? What are the people that you're already speaking to, who've already opted in, who've already said yes to something? How can you dig deeper and get them to say yes to the bigger picture? So I think it's overlooking what's right in front of you, focusing on 50 things rather than the five that are closest to the yes. That's what was the biggest costly mistake, and that's what I overcame.
Fantastic. We will be right back. This is Success Profiles Radio. We will be right back on the other side. Please stay with us.
The mission.
Okay, commercials are playing in the background. We can talk privately amongst
Awesome.
ourselves for a minute or so.
Cool.
How fun is this?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Then we'll start launching into some of the questions that you sent me, and I threw a few follow-up questions behind some of these.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have way more than enough content to work with. I usually over prepare,
Yeah.
which is really great because then I never run out of questions. So where in New York are you?
In West 11th Street, West Village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I am in Iowa. I live in a little cornfield town in the sticks of Iowa.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty fun. I love it here.
You've been there for a while?
I grew up here.
Oh wow, okay.
I grew up here, went off to college, ended up in Arizona for 26 years, moved back 4 years ago for family reasons.
Mm, mm, mm. Awesome.
Look after my mom, and my sister is in a. My mom is here, and my sister is in assisted living just a few miles away.
Okay, that's really
So
cool.
family reasons.
Yeah. Hmm. So you're saying it's kind of like a rural area?
Hmm.
Nice.
There's only 2,000 people in my town.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really great though.
Welcome back to Success Profiles Radio. So many people live their lives wanting more than they currently have. And this show will clearly demonstrate the principles: if I can do it, you can do it. So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
And we're back. This is Success Profiles Radio. My very special guest this week is Ali Samaha, and we are talking about reviving dead leads in your pipeline, because there's a lot of gold right where you're sitting, and you probably don't realize it, or maybe you've given up on it. And if you want to learn how to revive that, this is the episode that you need to hear. So, Ali, you've done 2.37 million in cash in the last 2.5 years. You only make 1 or 2 calls a day. Most of it comes from leads that other people have written off or abandoned. How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, quite simple. I mean, the money was already there, right? But what most people do is they'll touch a lead once or twice, hear nothing, and move on to buy more, or, seek something somewhere else, right? I just go back to the ones that everybody gave up on. And I'm not doing volume. Like at the end of the day, I don't want to be on sales calls, for the entire day. I'd rather, dig deeper into the conversations that I've already had, people that have already raised their hand, right? The pipeline was never empty. It went quiet, and quiet is not the same thing as gone.
Mm. Wow. So do you find that other people are willing to give you their dead leads?
I mean, eventually the founder is totally fine with me picking up where they left off. A lot of people don't realize that there's gold there, so they part with it or focus on the next call or take another call because they don't realize that there's something left there to dig for. So I wouldn't say necessarily that they like to hand me something, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to pick it up.
Absolutely. When you go back to dead leads instead of just buying more, that actually saves the company a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. A lead costs money, and starts at zero trust. So a quiet lead is somebody that already told me that they wanted it, and the cheapest revenue in any business is the deal that already has. So everyone steps over it, but I'm willing to take that and chase that person who's already said yes to something.
Right. So let's just say that somebody in the organization quits or gets fired. Obviously, their leads are getting left behind. Let's say those leads are given to you. What is your
Yeah.
approach? How do you handle that?
That's a really good question. So one of my favorite things to open up with is, um, uh, are you still looking to outcome? Like it's a very simple question. Like, hey, name, are you still looking to? So, for example, if it's a career, a company that helps people land data engineer jobs, are you still looking to land a high-paying data role? At the end of the day, are you still looking for outcome? And that's one of the most simplest way to ask a question, and you'll get an answer. So that's where I'd start every single revival sequence starts with that question.
Yeah. And if you are working with a lead that someone else gave you and you realize the conversation has barely started, that gives you a place to start right at zero, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So, how could you tell which deals are genuinely dead and which ones are still worth working on?
Very, very good question. The only way to find out is to ask. Like if somebody is there and there wasn't any like if they were just randomly searching, or there wasn't some serious intent, or they were confused about the offer, or we can't help them, those are dead. Like essentially, but anybody that you can help is a potential. Like at the end of the day, can you solve their problem? And if you can solve their problem, they are very much a possibility and should
Absolutely.
be,
Yeah.
somebody who you pursue.
Yeah. How many follow ups is too many? Where's the line between persistent and annoying?
That's a great question. I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is to make sure you're doing it in a human way. Like too annoying is going to come from the fact that you're not being value based or service based. But if I'm sharing with somebody wins in our community that are relevant to them because it's tied with their goal, how's that annoying? Like at the end
Right.
of the day, you know what I mean? If you're sharing with somebody value that could help them get one step closer to the goal, how's that annoying? So it really comes down to the quality of follow up.
Yeah.
How are you remaining relevant in their world? How are you remaining top of mind in their world? If it's about you and the sale, that's annoying. But if it's about showing them the possibility to get one step closer to their goal, I've had people thank me over and over again for how persistent I am in remaining committed to helping them get to their goal. So it
Absolutely.
really, there's no such thing as too much when you're coming from a place of service.
That's a great, great distinction because I think a lot of people are coming at it from, again, I need the sale. I need something.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone was willing to talk to you doesn't mean they're necessarily interested. It just means that they didn't ignore you and they're just being nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For sure. So when a prospect goes quiet, that doesn't necessarily mean no. What are they saying?
Yeah, that's a great question. So usually it's one of three things. Not like this or not yet, or you lost me somewhere and I won't tell you why. So usually you violated one of a few principles. So either you made them feel like you needed the sale more than them, so they feel pushed, or you made them feel stupid, like they missed something. So it's usually you just made them feel uncomfortable or that you need the sale more than them, right? Silence is not necessarily rejection, right? Sometimes it's just the time in their life, like they got swept away from something, and like there's many times that I send this simple follow up. Have you seen this? And I get so many people responding. So follow up is critical. Like at the end of the day, touch points, reaching out to people, making sure that you're top of mind in their world. It doesn't necessarily mean a quiet person now. Let's give a concrete example here. Let's say, for example, again, we're focused on career coaching, and somebody is ignoring you, and they may be ignoring you, but the moment that there's a interview coming up, they're going to respond, or because they're unprepared. Or let's say they got a job loss, right? And you're top of mind in their world, they're going to definitely respond. So sometimes urgency is also not that high. And so they're prioritizing something over you at that given time. But if you're remaining top of mind in their world, then when that becomes a higher priority in their life, they're going to be very quick to respond to you.
Absolutely. We've got 3 minutes to our next break. Let's just say that someone's sitting on a deal that went quiet several months ago. What's the very first thing you do?
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
If a deal went quiet 3 months
Yeah.
ago, they stopped responding to you.
Yep.
What you mentioned? Are you still thinking about this? Is that the thing that you mentioned to them first?
Not necessarily think about it. Are you still looking to? So for
Ah,
example, hey, name, no pressure at all. I was going back through a few conversations, and you're, stuck with me. Like make them feel like, it's a very unique case, right? Are you
mhm.
still weighing this thing, or are you still looking for this thing, or did it move to the back burner for now? So you're almost giving them a way out. It's a very interesting dynamic.
Mhm.
Is if you gave people a way out of something, they're very likely to step into something. It's a very interesting thing, like I'm pretty sure you've heard of a getting to yes principle, but there's also getting to know, right? Like no based questions tend to get much better response. And Chris Voss, an FBI director, said this. Why? Because people feel more empowered when they say no. So at the end of the day, simple questions like that are completely detached and just curious
Mhm.
and no pressure at all kind of questions are a great way to find out, are they still interested in the goal? Because if they're not interested in the goal, there's no conversation to be had in the first place. So it's a very easy question to answer that just gauges, are they still in the ballpark?
Yeah. And sometimes when people follow up with me, they'll say, "Hey, I'm just checking in. I'm just following up."
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Well, that's about you. That's why it doesn't work because you're checking in. Why? Because it's commission breath. It's about you, not them. It adds nothing. It adds nothing to their life, right? So it's the easiest message in the world to ignore. And every time you send it and they don't reply, you're training them to keep ignoring you. So don't use that. The last thing you want to sound like as a sales professional is like every other person. But the moment you start talking about them, their goals, their desires, and getting on their side of the table to help them get there, you're now collaborating with them rather than really breathing that commission breath, right?
Right.
That you spoke about, Brian.
Fantastic. We are coming up against our next break. My very special guest is Ali Samaha, and we are talking about reviving dead deals in your pipeline. Valuable stuff. Please stay with us. Don't go away. We will be right back. Okay, we can talk again for a minute or so.
Awesome.
So the next question that you provided me is, what is the one line breakup message? Why and
Mhm.
why does it wake people up when nothing else has? Have we talked
Yeah.
about this? Have we alluded to this yet or not?
Not yet. No, no,
Okay,
no.
good. Okay, good. Then that's the next question. Then we'll
Good one.
run through a couple of pretty common objections like it's too expensive. Let me think
Yes.
about it. And then we'll talk about Derek's deal, the one about I don't want to ruin our friendship by working with you. I
Yes, sir.
actually had I actually had a situation where a friend of mine didn't want to work with me for the same reason, but he he sent me a bunch of referrals. So that
Yeah.
made it okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was a really nice touch on his part.
Yeah. That was a great case.
Yeah, for sure.
Live their lives wanting more than they currently have. And this show will clearly demonstrate the principles if I can do it, you can do it. So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
And we're back. This is Success Profiles Radio. My very special guest this week is Ali Samaha. And if you have not subscribed to Ultimate Achievers Magazine, you can go to ultimateachieversmagazine.com. The July issue came out about a week ago, and we're working on issue number 100 for August. Very exciting milestone. I cannot wait for that to get released. So you can read every single issue we've done, plus all the special editions. You could read an issue every single day, every single week, and it would take you almost 2 years to read everything on that site. So again, once again, ultimateachieversmagazine.com. Please subscribe today. You will be so glad you did. Ali, let's talk about the one-line breakup message that you like to use and why it wakes people up when nothing else has.
That's a great question. So I think it comes back to the philosophy that if you give somebody a way out, then they're likely to step back in. So, you know, should I close this file, right? Or is it still worth a conversation? So you're starting with a way out. So they're like, oh, he's giving me a way out. Or is it still worth the conversation? Okay, now an opportunity to step back in. So it works because it flips the pressure, right? For weeks, you were following up, right? And now you're calmly ready to walk. And that's often known as a walkout strategy, right? The person who's in the position to walk out of a deal usually is the one who's generally in control. So it comes down again to not being attached to the sale and being very clear about that, right? Like, is this something that's still worth the conversation? And starting with that flipping of the pressure, I think is the key thing that makes it work.
Yeah. Now, I've worked in some sales organizations where the customer somehow wasn't vibing with me or they weren't vibing with my neighbor. And so we would trade leads with each other and it actually worked out much better. Do you advocate that sometimes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes, the conversation didn't go that well on the call, and for whatever reason, bringing in some new blood into the conversation just works. And so I'm very much about that. We do kind of like these pods where everybody has a different edge. Let's say, for example, one of the closers on the team is really good at financial options. Then we bring him in as the financial expert who can help you solve that problem. As long as you position the other person as somebody who's better suited to solve their problem, it makes complete sense. It makes
Yeah.
complete sense.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some common objections that people get because there are really only 4 or 5 objections that we all get. You'd
Yep.
think that we would have some kind of a script for it, but we don't always do that. But one
Hmm.
thing that people love to say to squirrel out of a deal is to say, oh, it's too expensive. Well,
Hmm.
compared to what, right?
Hmm. Hmm. At the end of the day, when you get that, you really just want to get clarity first. That's one of those where you really need to get clarity. So totally fair. When you say expensive, do you mean more than you expected, or you're not sure that it's worth it? So you just want to find out, is it a value situation, or is it actually something, about the price that's out of the ballpark? So once you identify that, then you're able to deal with it more, whether that's making sure that you're realigning them with the value that it's going to provide in the problem that it's going to solve for them, or solving the financial issue, whether it's a financial option or whatever. Don't jump to conclusions though, because then you'll be solving the wrong problem. So the most important thing is you want to find out what the problem or the obstacle is, and then you deal with it head on.
I love that. That's fantastic. So when someone says, let me think about it, we all know that they're not actually going to spend lots of time thinking about it. It's their way of hitting pause. So how do you handle that?
Awesome question. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also about isolating it, because there's only so many reasons why somebody wants to think about it, right? So you want to ask something like, there's something they're unsure about. So it's usually a certainty thing. So is it the price, the timing, or whether this will actually work out for you? So what we're doing here is we're finding out, is it a financial thing? Is it a timing thing, commitment thing, or is it a certainty thing? Because think about it means nothing. Nobody's going to sit and contemplate this conversation on a rocking chair after you get off the phone. So there's something, and you need to find out what that thing is, because once you figure out what that thing is, you can deal with it again.
Oh, I love that. Is it price? Is it timing, or is it a certainty thing? That because that is so important. You have to isolate
Right?
because let me think about it. It's so general. It's
It
so
means nothing.
vague.
It means nothing. Like
It,
who who
yeah.
who is actually going to go, and when does thinking about it ever move anything forward, right? Because at the end of the day, thinking about something is not going to increase your certainty around it. And oftentimes, making a decision requires you to step outside of comfort and into growth. And so, thought is only going to make you ruminate. And doing that is only going to make you, comfortable with staying stuck. So, you're only going to rationalize doing nothing. And so, how does that move you towards your goal? So often we need to get them out of the that space of thinking, right? And into
Mhm.
doing, because doing is really what's going to get them closer to their goal.
Absolutely. Let's discuss a specific case study. And you and I have talked about this offline, but I have a friend who sells life insurance. And one of his potential clients was a really good friend of his. His dad died. He inherited the house. He sold the house, was getting ready to work with my friend, and then he had a divorce. And then when all was all said and done, this guy's friend finally said, I'm not sure if it's a great idea for us to work together since we're such good friends, because if it goes south, I don't want to screw up the friendship. How do you handle that? Because you want the deal, but you also want to keep the friendship.
That's a really, really good question. That's a great objection. So let's zoom out a little bit. There's a
Yeah.
framework that I like to use for all objections, right? And frameworks are really helpful because at the end of the day, you can deal with a variety of things that come your way with a simple step by step formula. So the formula I like to use is called the diffuse, agree, collaborate, right? So in this case, you want to first diffuse and isolate. So first, you don't argue with it at all. You say, I hear you, right? One question, is it the friendship you're protecting, or are you just not sure I'm the right person for this? Right? Because those are two completely different conversations. What that's going to allow you to do is you're going to find out, is it a certainty thing? Because if you can find that out, then you can deal with the certainty gap, right? And then you can flip the risk. So you can say, if a stranger gets this wrong, you lose money and they move on to the next name on the list. If I get this wrong, I lose money and I lose you. So what I've done here is I've taken what they've shared as an objection and turned it into an advantage. So this is a really, really very powerful, potent way to flip what they've used as an obstacle into, hey, me being your friend is actually the reason why thing is going to work even better. Does that make sense, Brian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's beautiful.
yeah, so really it's about certainty. If they're concerned that this is going to ruin a relationship, then they have doubts that this thing's actually going to work out with that person in their corner, right? So you want to make the decision real. So the choice is not friend or not friend. It's whether the person is handling this is someone still at your table next year. So the most important thing here is to first isolate what's actually going on and make them realize it's a certainty thing, and then show them that me being your friend is actually an additional guarantee that this thing is going to work out versus you thinking that it's going to be a risk. It's actually an added advantage that makes this an even higher probability to work out for you.
Fantastic. We've got 3 minutes until our final break. Let's say the objection is that they need to talk to their spouse if it's B2C, or they need to talk to their leadership team if it's B2B. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, so like the most important thing whenever there's another person involved is you want to find out, you know, spouse aside, partner aside, is this something that you want to do? Why? Right? So oftentimes when somebody brings somebody else into the equation, they're just scared to make the decision. Again, it's a certainty thing. Because if they're 100% confident, right, they're usually not going to bring that up. Now, sometimes it actually is a necessary step. And having their partner as part of the decision is essential. Either way, if you build up their certainty level as a first step by asking, partner aside, is this something that you want to do? Yeah. Why is that? So you don't just take yes as an answer, you find out why, right? And you feel your partner is going to be aligned with that? Why, right? So if you share with them, so all of these things allow you to ensure that even if this has to go to further conversation, they're going with complete confidence and conviction, and you're setting that up. And if you build their, sometimes what happens as you go through this process and you build their certainty up, you can tell them, oh, see, and is your partner aligned with you getting to the goal? Yes. So does that conversation really need to happen, or do you think we could just share that with them? That you've taken this step and you go to them with the plan for how you're going to get to your goals. Sometimes you're able to overcome it just by increasing their willingness and energy levels and certainty levels and getting them to that yes. And the reason why yes, sometimes that's enough for them to say, let's just do this. And I'll go share with them that magnificent decision I've just made.
Fantastic. Less than a minute until the final break. How do you tell the difference between a real objection and a smokescreen?
Good question. Good question. So it really comes down to, isolation. Smoke screen at the end of the day, you like think about it. For example, like they usually come or partner objection. So the way you overcome that is you go back to breaking it up into something that's real. So actually something that, is the certainty level there? Is something meaningful there, or is it just fluff? If you're able to break things down into something meaningful, then it really is able to become something that's real that you can deal with.
Fantastic. We'll be right back. Awesome.
Yep.
And down the stretch we come. So, did you want to give away a free pipeline audit?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. Because I noticed that was on your documentation that you sent me. It's like, oh, he can give something away. This is cool.
Yeah, it's alisamaha.com/Brian. So it has your name on it too.
Oh, so the word audit isn't in it?
Ali Samaha. No, I'll put it in the chat so you have it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. /Brian.
That's wonderful. Yep.
Okay. Cool. I have way more questions than I'm actually going to need.
Cool.
So, okay. I know which ones I'm probably going to eliminate. Cool. Have you written a book about this?
What's up?
Have you written a book about this?
No, not yet. No.
Is that in your plans?
I think so. Yeah. Sounds like
Okay. Let's talk about it after the show because I help people do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. This would be a fun book. I think it's very valuable too. I mean, there are a lot of sales books out there, but not many of them talk about reviving dead leads.
That's true. Follow-up is the blue ocean.
For sure. I definitely do want to stay in touch after this.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed our back and forth in email, and your energy is phenomenal.
So is yours.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this show all week.
Oh, you're awesome, man.
It's true.
I swear, me too. Like energy for me is a huge thing, and it really does come off in emails and just,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah. No, you're.
Welcome back to Success Profiles Radio. So many people live their lives wanting more than they currently have. And this show will clearly demonstrate the principles: if I can do it, you can do it. So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
And down the stretch we come. This is Success Profiles Radio. My very special guest this week is Ali Samaha. And once again, if you have not downloaded and subscribed to Success Profiles Radio, please do that on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. And if you've been listening to any of the commercials during the breaks, you do know that I help people write and publish their books. So if you've got an idea for a book in your head that you've just been dying to get out of you so that you can help the world, I'd love to have that conversation with you. You can go to callwithbrian.com, BRIAN, callwithbrian.com, set up a time to talk to me, and I'd be so happy and grateful to join you at whatever point in your journey you are. And if it's a fit, great. If it's not, it's okay too. So Ali, let's talk about some case studies and some work that you've actually done with people. You were brought in to train an 8-figure company's entire closing floor, 20 closers and the CEO in the room. What did you teach them that they were not already doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yeah, at the end of the day, what they weren't doing is having a system to follow up. Like they were just doing everything ad hoc, and what I was able to do is just kind of break down for them, hey guys, so here are all of the ways that you can follow up, right? First thing you need to realize is you can't do good follow-up unless you get clarity on the call. So I'm not telling you that you guys, the most important thing you need to do is get clarity on the call on what the obstacle is. And then after that, what you're doing is you are making sure that you're setting up that next conversation. And between it, you're having several touch points. So what that could look like, for example, for this 8-figure company, if somebody had a certainty objection, there was an opportunity to meet with the CEO for a Q&A twice a week. Okay, leverage that, guys. Okay, there's so many case studies. So at the end of the day, if somebody, again, has a certainty objection, they could leverage that. If somebody has a partner objection, I showed them a method to simply create a Loom video that they can share with their partner. Oftentimes, what that allows them to do is rather than them be the sales professional, you're stepping in, you're supporting them with an asset that they can share with their partner that's fully customized for them, which allows them then to overcome that obstacle. But at the end of the day, it was just turning the complex into a simple step-by-step process. At the end of the day, allows people to execute, because if you have clarity, you have steps that are going to be able to be taken in order to get to the goal. So obviously, that was a huge benefit for 20 closers to be able to have a system crystal clear how they can utilize all the resources at their disposal in order to convert at the highest level. That was huge, not just for them but for the CEO.
Absolutely. You also ran a reactivation campaign across thousands of dead leads and got about a 40% reply rate. That's phenomenal. What does that tell us about the leads, and what does that tell us about the follow-up that maybe was or wasn't happening?
Yeah, I mean, that tells us that the leads still wanted to achieve that goal. But at the end of the day, people were assuming that quiet meant dead, right? So 4 in 10 of those that people had written off really still wanted that. So at the end of the day, just reaching back out to them and finding out, do you still want goal? Got so many responses, and it wasn't just a one-step sequence. So it was that plus sharing a win that was relevant, and then saying, hey, I've reached out to you a few times, but I haven't heard back. Is this still something that you want to do? And then using that walkout strategy that I mentioned. Hey, reached out a few times, should I close the file? Right. So just a few steps, and you're able to get a 40% response rate from people who are already in your list. It just shows you that, there's a lot of gold where you're not that you're sitting on right now. So just make sure that you're asking the questions that are going to get them to let you know if they're still in the ballpark.
Absolutely. How do you develop mental toughness in sales? Because this profession really requires it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing, Brian, is something that we spoke about earlier is don't be married to the outcome, be married to the process. So just focus on what you can do to be the best that you can be every day. If you do that, you're going to be detached from the outcome and you're much less likely to burn out, which is what a lot of sales pros do because they're obsessed with the outcome. You want to focus on what's in your control, not out of your control. If you focus on what's in your control, even Jeff Bezos says this, like stress doesn't come from doing a lot of work. Stress comes from, not doing the things that are in your control, right? So if you focus on the things that are in your control, then you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And at the end of the day, if you're constantly like I said, building your pipeline and reviving, then you're not going to feel like, oh, I need to get this call right and I need to get this right. It's not like that. You're more detached from every single ingredient because you're coming from a place of abundance. There's so much that you can do to get to your goals than just rely on an inbound call that's set on your calendar.
Fantastic. Do you have a favorite client story or two?
Oh, so many, so many. At the end of the day, my favorite client stories. One of them was incredible, and this is one that shows that I love to be the catalyst to help people change. There was somebody who's coming into the program, and she had a coma, and she had forgotten all that she had learned about data, and just bringing her into a program where
It looks like we got timed out or froze or something. We're talking with Ali Samaha about reviving dead deals in your pipeline, and he'll be back with us shortly, we hope. And we've been talking about his favorite case studies. We've been talking about having a system. We've been talking about a reactivation campaign across thousands of dead leads where he got about a 40% response rate. And is he back yet? Oh, he's not back yet. Okay, not a problem. Well, we've learned so much, and we're going to get him back here shortly. But we talked about some really great objections too. And if you missed that or want to listen back to that again and take some notes, please do that. But when someone says, for example, the deal that you're talking about is too expensive,
Mhm.
you might want to find out if it's more than you expected or is this just not worth it. And it looks like we have Ali back, so we're so glad that you're back. So
Yes.
tell us about your favorite client story.
Yeah, so favorite client story, it comes in twofold. So one of them was definitely the one where we were able to change that this lady's life who had gotten into a coma and forgot everything that she learned about data and was able to come into our program and relearn that and be able to excel in her career and come back and share that win. So that was huge. Another one was somebody who had basically, in order for her to say yes, she said no to me like 5 times along the way, including hanging up on me, including having to bring her partner into the conversation, including like all of these steps that came along the way. And at the end of the day, again, to see somebody like that and then 3 months later talk about, how much this has changed their life. It just makes everything worth it. So sometimes the path along the way seems a little bit challenging, but you have to realize that at the end of the day, if you have your intentions in the right place and you want to change somebody's life and using all your skills in order to move them forward towards their goals, it makes it all worth it at the end of the day.
Do you find sometimes that the clients that are hardest to get are the ones that are the most committed once they say yes?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And they're the ones
Fantastic.
who are most grateful for you for helping them overcome, their 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 limiting beliefs and everything that's they're putting between themselves and the goal.
Absolutely. Tell us about maybe one or two of the most influential books that you've read that have helped you along the way.
Oh man, there's so many, so many. I'd say definitely Influence.
Cialdini.
Cialdini, awesome, awesome. I think that's number one. Like, there's absolutely nothing that matches that. Definitely, the getting to yes, and then also the one never split the difference was a great one as well for a very good follow-up stuff, and mirroring and a lot of things that are great for the sales call, labeling, all of these things. But Cialdini, 100% number one by far, because things like reciprocity and making sure that you're helping people before asking them for $1, right? All of these things that he shares in that book that are wired into the way that we make decisions and the way we operate as human beings makes you realize there's a lot more science to this than that you can apply, and a systems to this. And if you can figure out these things that kind of pull people towards a yes, then you can apply them to any part of the sales process and get much more results.
Absolutely. And you also have said that the goal is never to do more follow-up, it's to do as little follow-up as possible. So how do we do that?
Yeah, great question. So at the end of the day, what I mean by that is great follow-up is not necessarily doing as many touch points as possible. At the end of the day, if you're able to be more effective with less, and how are you able to do that? Get more clarity on that first call, be able to ask the right questions that isolate, be able to share the things that get them to overcome that. So less is really more.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, all, and you can isolate them and say the right things to move somebody forward. That's so much better.
Absolutely. We've got less than 3 minutes until the end. If someone listening has one deal that still bugs them, the one that they were sure they would close and it just went quiet, what should they do this week?
Yeah, send the one message, right? A no pressure message, assume nothing, right? And so you have nothing to lose, do it before you talk yourself out. And the go-to is, just ask them, are they still thing that you can do? Do they still have that problem? Or, have they figured it out? Like, so just do it. Just do it. At the end of the day, don't make any assumptions, no pressure, assume nothing, and just reach out to that person and find out if they still want that goal.
Fantastic. You are offering a free pipeline audit to all of our listeners. Tell us about that and where can we do it?
Yeah, so I think a very valuable thing to find out, how you're doing when it comes to follow-up is really measure it. And so at the end of the day, what I've done is I've built this free pipeline audit that will tell you based on, how many leads you have in your pipeline that have gone quiet, the value of your leads, and a few other variables. How much money are you leaving on the table? And that's going to give you a financial figure. And then once you fill that out, I'll also give you the opportunity to share with me the one that's bugging you the most. And I will, within 48 hours, get back to you on exactly what you can do. And I'm doing this special for Brian. And the way you can get it is my name, Ali Samaha, ALYSAMAHA.com/Brian, BRIAN. So that's my name, .com/Brian. And that will give you access to this opportunity to find out how much you're leaving in your pipeline, right? How many stones you're leaving unturned, and an opportunity to get my direct support in dealing with that deal that's bugging you the most.
Fantastic. And how can we find you? How can we try with you and vibe with you?
Yeah, awesome. So alisamaha.com is a great place to go if you want to, find out more. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Samson Samaha, SAMSON Samaha, and LinkedIn as well. Those would be great ways. If you want to reach out to me on email, it's ali@alisamaha.com. But I'd recommend that you just start with that audit.
Fantastic. Ali, thank you for being here. This has been fantastic.
Sure thing, Brian. It's a pleasure.
And thanks to all of you for listening. This has been Success Profiles Radio. Join us every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where I interview another world-class achiever, learn what they did, what they overcame, and the lessons we can learn along the way. Until next week, take care, everyone. Goodbye. Okay, we are done. done.
Awesome.
Awesome. Ben, thank you for producing. Please edit.
Will do.
You know the deal.
Yeah. But I've got to jump to the next one.
Okay, are you leaving the room with me then?
No, I've got to use it.
Oh, you got to use it. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Ali, let's talk this week.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Take care. And
All right.
the replay shall be available in a few days, probably sometime this week.
Awesome. Will you pop it over to me or what? By email?
Yeah, I'll pop
Awesome.
it over to you when
Thank
when
you.
I have it.
Thanks, Brian.